Ladies and gentlemen, this might be the dumbest article that I've ever read on this channel. This might be the dimmest idea that I can think of to fix Disney Star Wars. I wanted to bring this to your attention because, it's interesting how different our opinions are to fix Star Wars. It's going to be up to Disney at the end of the day, but there are some crazy ideas floating around. This is a Collider article by Liam Gaunt. I know it's a Collider, I know. I just wanted to read this to you because it is funny how these people are trying to think, how can we fix this without giving fans what they actually want? They're in a tailspin right now because of the Acolyte. Here's this article. It's time for Star Wars to face the hard truth for Luke and Leia. To say the last few years have been rough for Star Wars fans would be a significant understatement. While the franchise has certainly reached some dramatic highs with Andor and The Bad Batch, the intense serialization that has infected projects like The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and The Mandalorian Season 3 has made it more challenging for casual fans to get invested in the future of the series. First off, why do you care about casual fans? Let me explain this to you as nicely as I can. The hardcore fans are the ones that buy everything. The hardcore fans are the ones that watch everything and support everything you do. And if you're trying to just appeal to casual fans, you're not going to get any money out of them, and you're not going to get any kind of support. They're just there to pay the $10 a month and watch whatever crap you put out. They don't care. I don't even think they care if the shows are bad. They just watch them anyway. That's kind of like what I do though, but one of the reoccurring criticisms that the franchise has received is the use of computer-generated imagery to bring back the likenesses of Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher in order to play younger versions of Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa. Whenever they brought Luke Skywalker to The Mandalorian, I think everyone was pretty damn happy about that. And it was a badass scene. And, we said, yeah, it was criticized a little bit because it looked kind of funny and off, but I mean, it's freaking computer generated. Of course it's going to be off, but it was still cool to see Luke. As essential as these characters may be to the future of the franchise, Star Wars can't keep relying on CGI recreations of actors who can no longer play their roles. I mean, that's a given. Make new stories. There's so much lore out there. There's so many legends, as they call them now, that they can make hundreds of movies out of them. The actors are too old to play the parts. Just move on to something else. This person's saying Star Wars needs to commit to recasting, though. Star Wars needs to commit to recasting because we have to tell more stories about Luke, Leia, and Han. I think Luke, Leia, and Han's stories are pretty much completed. There's not much more that you can do with them unless you're talking like comics where you can draw them or games. Seeing a recast on the big screen is gonna piss a lot of people off, and it's not going to interest people. I know they're doing that with Harry Potter right now with the new Harry Potter TV series that they're making. They're recasting Harry, Ron, and Hermione, but I don't think the fans of Harry Potter are going to like that either. The problem that these studios have is that they're trying to make money off the same exact thing, just given back to us like a reshuffled sandwich. Here's the other half of that sandwich. It's a new one, but it's reshuffled. Just make new stories that aren't stupid. It's not that hard. Alright, let's listen to his argument for recasting the original three. Lucasfilm has become reliant on the use of CGI to bring back characters ever since Peter Cushing's likeness was controversially used for key scenes in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Yes, that was actually really bad. His head, it almost looked like a mod in a game or something where you can make their heads bigger. I don't know why. It was really weird looking. I mean, maybe for a split second you could do that. While the parameters of the story being told about the creation of the Death Star meant that Tarkin had to appear, it is distractingly and unnerving to see CGI recreations. That's true. This is even more of a glaring issue for characters like Luke and Leia, as Hamill and Fisher are so synonymous with the franchise that it is easy to point out the difference between an authentic performance and one created through the use of augmented technology. Yeah, after Carrie Fisher died, those idiots wrote her into the next movie instead of just having her die off screen or, anything else. They put a CGI model of her in Rise of Skywalker, and it was, dude, we all knew she was gone, and just seeing her on the big screen as a CGI monstrosity was off-putting. I was like, oh man, I just had kind of a sick feeling in my stomach when I was watching that movie. It remains unclear why Lucasfilm is so hesitant about recasting iconic characters. What do you mean it's unclear? It's clear that people aren't gonna like that at all. Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker. You can't recast Luke Skywalker or Carrie Fisher or any of those characters, really. They are the characters. As the franchise has shown on multiple occasions that several actors play the role to find success, while the thought of anyone stepping into the shoes of the great Sir Alec Guinness seemed implausible after he earned an Academy Award nomination for the performance in Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope. Yeah, no. Sir Alec Guinness would probably come out of his grave and probably slap whoever put a CGI model on his face. He was like a classic theater actor. I love old Obi-Wan, but I don't want to see him back on the screen. Ewan McGregor's portrayal of the character in the prequel trilogy earned just as much affection. McGregor's popularity as the character has even sparked discussions about a potential second season of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes, we all want that second season. So it's easy to imagine that a new actor cast as Luke or Leia could earn the same amount of affection. See, the thing is, he is Obi-Wan. It wasn't recast. It's not like they found another old British guy to play Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor played young Obi-Wan. Am I in upside down land here? Like, am I not understanding something that everybody else is? Luke and Leia are essential to the future of Star Wars. They're not essential to telling new stories. Their stories are over. Just leave them, please leave them alone. Please just leave them alone. They're good. You've done enough. Thank you. The upcoming second season of Ahsoka and the feature film The Mandalorian and Grogu take place in the New Republic era, in which the heroes of the original trilogy are attempting to form a new democratic government that can replace the Galactic Empire. By the way, not to get sidetracked, but a republic is different than a democracy. It no longer makes sense that characters like Din Djarin and Ahsoka Tano wouldn't interact with Luke or Leia, especially as they would realistically be involved in any serious threats that the New Republic faces. Well, you know, it's a big galaxy. I know Star Wars feels small because it takes place close to the characters, but galaxy's huge. Like, Luke and Leia are both deeply connected to the establishment of the new Jedi Order, in which both Din and Ahsoka have obvious direct ties. How does Din have a tie to the Jedi Order? What does he care about the new Jedi Order? Grogu chose the way of the Mandalorian, not the Jedi, so I'm not sure why he would care about that. There is still a lot of potential for more stories involving Luke and Leia, and there is still a massive segment of the timeline between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens that has yet to be explored. That's true, but do we have to explore them? It would be interesting to see how Luke turned from a graceful hero into a cynical recluse who chose to abandon. That would be interesting. You know what? Please explain that. Please show how somebody like Luke Skywalker turns into that old curmudgeon, drinking space alien titty milk. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I think they're doing that in the comics right now, which I would like to review those too, but we'll see. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. Let me know if you would. Cynical recluse who chose to abandon the Jedi Order and how his failure to start his own Jedi Academy left him with severe psychological wounds. Similarly, it would be interesting to see how Leia and her expertise as a leader of the Rebel Alliance, as she put together a new governmental system that aimed to be more representative of the galaxy inhabitants. Luke and Leia are great characters, and just because Fisher has sadly passed on and Mark Hamill is no longer on the right age doesn't mean that they don't have a future in the Star Wars saga. So, just because Carrie Fisher's dead doesn't mean we can't have more Leia. Recasting her after she died and recasting Luke is just not going to work. I'm sorry. It's not. I'm sure there are actors out there that can play good parts, that can actually play them well, but we saw it with Solo, A Star Wars Story. It just didn't work, man. I mean, he played a good Han Solo, right? But it was his own Han Solo. It wasn't Harrison Ford. I also made the argument that, you know, Ewan McGregor played a younger Obi-Wan, but he's still Obi-Wan. I get that, but Han Solo was young in A New Hope. They've played these characters their entire lives. Just move on. The main point is just to leave these characters and the canon surrounding them alone now, because you've done enough damage and it's time to move on with a new story. Let's just leave Han, Luke, and Leia alone. I think that's a good way to make peace with fans. You know, just stop messing with the canon. Stop messing with these characters, because they always make them worse. Han Solo was a deadbeat dad in The Force Awakens. Luke Skywalker, well, you know how he was. Do you feel as strongly as I do about not recasting these characters? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.